Hey there, it's Tim from Boston Impressions, and guess what? You've just hit play on the Tell Me Three Things podcast. Great conversations with great people. So what's the deal here? Well, we'll dive into chats with some seriously cool folks from around the world of sales, marketing, and entertainment. But here's the catch. Every guest has to spill three things that gives us a sneak peek into what makes their story different. Welcome to Tell Me Three Things, where every chat might just lead you to discover something totally unexpected. Frank Carofano, you are a 35-year plus veteran in radio.
I think it's like 46
you are the host
now.
of the Frank. Oh, is it 46? I'm okay.
Yeah.
You are the host of the Franco in the Morning, a radio show on WKNL in New London. You live in Norwich with your wife, Kimberly, and your new, fairly new. How old is your new dog, Molly Moo?
Well, we've had Molly for
5
like
years
5 or
old?
6 years. Yeah. No, she's like 9. She was a rescue. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
And our
No
daughters
kidding.
are, our daughters live here.
Okay.
Stephanie and Catherine live here.
Oh, no kidding. And your grandchildren as well?
They don't live here, no, but they're close by.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So I'll get right to it. During the pandemic, you took a crash course in TikTok. You went on TikTok, and you have over 60,000 followers now.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what that journey is, and are you going live every single day, and what have your thoughts been around that?
Okay. I originally came on TikTok to be funny. And then I saw the people who are funny and how funny they are. And I'm like, well, I can't do that. They're really funny. So I started talking about music. And I seemed to start getting a little bit of traction, just talking about artists. I remember the first piece I did was on Karen Carpenter. And then there was other pieces. But then I didn't know how to use the green screen or any of that. So I was like talking over the song. And then my daughters were laughing at me. They're like, yeah, who's going to follow you? But they were showing me how to use the green screen. And then I became more versed. And I think as I developed better, my traction, of attracting followers or community members really kind of grew at a rapid rate. And the videos got better, and it just kind of, evolved to what it is now. And then I started doing the lives, and I built the home studio, frankly, so I could do I voice track another station in our group, and that means, pre-record it. So I do that from here. And then, the community started to grow even more when I was doing the lives. And to answer your question, I don't do it, do I have certain times? I used to do it, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. And maybe if you caught me on Friday, you would. But that just got to be too much. Plus, I have something else. I work part-time at night. So my benchmarks are just really Motown Monday and Sunday mornings. And then any other time I can jump on.
That's amazing. So what has surprised you the most out of your TikTok journey? What are the things that you would, surprise you the most out of the content that you have been putting out?
Well, the content, I'm surprised by what I'm learning because, like people will say, wow, you know so much about music. And I'm like, well, full disclosure, 90% of the stuff I'm researching, really deep diving before I even record. I don't know this stuff, so I'm learning as I go along. And then there's 10% that I 10% of it I know simply from being a music lover and on the radio. I probably know more than 10%. But the thing, I didn't know. I'll just give you one I didn't know. I didn't know Bernie Taupin wrote the lyrics to "We Built This City," the song that people think is the worst song ever, the most hated song. "We Built This City" by Starship.
I would agree.
Those lyrics were written by Bernie Taupin, and it was a very dark song. So that's just one thing, looking into that. So I think what surprised me the most was how much I learned and how much the people have a passion for it. I mean, people want to talk to someone about what we consider to be the greatest music ever recorded, and that's what we built in our community. People just love to talk about music.
Yeah, well, we had an opportunity to interview Dean Baldwin. I don't know if you follow him on TikTok. He is a Sirius XM satellite. He lives in North Carolina. He does a lot of the same kind of content you do, but he also has a show on classic vinyl. And you remind me a lot about him, with your knowledge and your experience in music. following you, I've realized that classic rock, the Beatles, that's where your heart lies. So the question I really have for you is, like this morning, for instance, you had a back-to-back of Bananarama, Wilson Phillips, and Milli Vanilli. How do you stand it?
Well, what's really funny, and you nailed it. I grew up. I saw Led Zeppelin when I was 18. So, which is like, to me, that's my claim of fame as the best concert I've ever seen. And I've seen most of them. But I grew up loving, Tull, Queen, Aerosmith, you name it, Zeppelin, Beatles, of course. And when I decided I wanted to get into radio, which was around when I was a junior in high school, 100 years ago, listening to the album rock stations, I loved the music, but I didn't want to be that kind of DJ. I didn't want to be like, hey, that was Led Zeppelin. Before that, we heard Jethro Tull. I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to be, a high energy because that's how I am. So I was listening to the top 40 station in town, but not telling my friends. And then when I decided I was really going to do it, I went to the station and met the guys and became an intern at what I discovered was the greatest radio I would ever watch in person. And I didn't even know how great it was. Because now with what I know now, it was just amazing what the station was doing. And I went to broadcasting school on Saturday, and broadcasting school, you get out of it what you put into it. But so getting back to how do I stand it? Well, I like hit music too. Like I programmed top 40 radio from the mid 80s until 1999. And then I started programming Hot AC, which was a new format that came out, which was kind of like, it had a very short life, that format, but it was like Third Eye Blind, Matchbox 20, Sarah McLachlan. That was like, that was like a modern AC format, which is very similar to Top 40. But I don't mind it. How do I stand it is funny. I know.
Well, like I said, I follow you.
My heart is in classic rock, but I'm not a fit to be on the air to classic rock. So I have too much energy. I can't mellow out like that. Yeah.
Well, you've been doing this for a while. Yeah.
And I was going to say, it's not like that now. Like classic rock, first of all, there's not a lot of rock stations anymore because the product sucks. But classic rock jocks are not like the example I gave. But that's what they were in like 1976. Hey, it's the Stone Man. Be careful what you do tomorrow. Yeah, here's Led Zeppelin. I wanted to be a top 40 DJ,
being in the industry as long as you have, working at probably several radio stations, not just at the one, I assume just not the one that you're at now. You probably have met some amazing people over the years. Talk to us about maybe some brushes with greatness that you didn't know at the time that, that came out, later, or you were like, I met so-and-so and I didn't know that they would be who they are, or vice versa.
They would be huge. I just, I can't really think of anything that blows me away right now. Like, Bananarama. I met artists that were major artists. And, you're not going to say, well, gee, I didn't think Elton John was going to be huge, but,
right.
That's a tough one for me. Let me noodle that. And, while we're talking, if something pops into mind, but nothing like, just blows me away. Madonna in her early days, I knew Madonna was going to be huge, but I guess anybody could have called that.
Right.
But I'm talking like even like when she was, when her music was just being played in the clubs, in the before she broke,
So if you had to pick one kind of music, 60s, 70s, 70s rock or 70s one-hit wonders, the Casey Kasems of the day, what would be some of your favorite songs of all time?
Okay, so first of all, I'll talk about Beatles. I love anything Beatles, and a lot of their solo stuff. I really like, when we talk 70s, I really love the singer-songwriter era. And that's the era when the Beatles ended. That was the next music revolution. And Peter Asher, who is Jane Asher's brother, and of course Paul was engaged to Jane Asher. Right. I got to interview him. It's on my TikTok page, and I was just so blown away that he was part of two music revolutions. He was part of the British invasion and part of the singer-songwriter revolution when he brought James Taylor to the United States. So I like a lot of the
Mm.
stuff from that. I like Carole King, James Taylor. I love that stuff. There's a lot of '70s songs that I really, really like. Some I'm really tired of. But I would say, I really like the band. Like I can listen to. Um, I can listen to the band. I think I do listen to the band every day. I like the band a lot. You know,
Okay.
I listen to Last Waltz just about once a week, and I watch it like twice a year. I like the Last Waltz a lot, but I like hit music too. I mean, I love Tull, I love all that stuff, but I like hits. And which is kind of weird because you either hate top 40 and love rock, or you love rock. It's just but I'm kind of like I like it both. I like them both. Because I
Well,
work with hits.
if you were going to give any advice to someone entering the industry as a DJ or on air radio personality like yourself, what kind of advice would you give them? And you probably do on a daily basis, I would imagine.
Yeah, I tell them don't get into radio, and here's why. Now, it used to be exciting to tell kids how to get into radio and the different ways you can get into radio. Here's the bottom line. There are thousands and thousands of really good radio personalities that are just out of the business or out of work due to automation, technology. I mentioned voice tracking before, and I'll explain it quickly to your listeners in case they
Sure.
don't know. I'm sure you know. But voice tracking is where you can do a show. I do a show for a radio station 30 miles from here, right from this studio, and I've never been in their building. You know.
Wow.
So what happens is voice tracking has really it's just started to eliminate jobs like in the mid '90s. I'll give you a great example. I had a kid working for me. His name was Joe Daddio. All right, and Joe was a weekend DJ. He was a weekend DJ, and he wanted to be a DJ. And that's right when voice tracking came out. And I liked him a lot. And I said, Joe, you know what? Radio's really heading towards not having a lot of live jocks on the air anymore with voice tracking. I think you have a great personality. I think you should go in the record business. I'm going to take you to a convention. So I took him to the Hitmakers convention in Boston, introduced him to some people. He did I'm going to give you the short version. He did an intern at Atlantic Records, and right now he is a senior vice president of a record company somewhere, probably making a shitload of money. And I'm in my basement. No offense, doing podcast, but he and just I saw that coming, and what I see coming next is AI. I see AI DJs. I mean, it's happening now. You can call a radio station, win a prize, and talk to the robot. That's what's
Wow.
happening with radio. All right. And the other thing is, people say, gee, MTV was going to kill radio. And I've said this before, and people who know me know what I'm going to say right now. Maybe you've heard me say it or not. But it wasn't MTV that killed radio, and it wasn't Napster, and it wasn't internet radio. Radio killed radio by not having
Okay.
DJs in the studio, not super serving their community, that type of stuff. So I tell people that get into radio, get back to that, is learn production, because somebody has to tell the AI DJ what to say. So you need
Right.
so you need somebody who can program that stuff. Like we have a guy at the radio station, John, and he has embedded himself as so valuable that I think they're afraid if he left, he could push a button and shut everything off from his house. So not that he would do that. That's the joke. So be that guy. Don't be me, because I can come any day I leave the radio station and I still have a job is a good day, because they cut budgets so much, and not just at my station, but across the board, because of staggering sales and stuff like that. But I never know if I'm still have a job there. And I've told that to a consultant friend of mine. He goes, "You're all that station has." Because I have a big, and I don't say big name, but I have a name in the market. I've been in this market since 1985. So people know my name. They know who I am. And I super serve the community. I would go to the opening of an envelope if it meant that people would know I'm still on the radio. So, because what happens now is local radio still works and it's still important, but people are listening a lot less. Like if you listen tomorrow, you'd probably hear Banana Rem again. That's how fast we rotate our music, because the audience rotates so fast that you don't want to take a chance of not having a song they know on the air. So I tell, back to the original question, I tell people learn production. You know, you're not going to be the next big DJ. It's just not going to happen. You know,
Right.
it's
Well,
not.
I know that if we listen to the '70s channel on XM satellite, every hour we're going to hear the exact same 10 songs, or in that basic rotation.
It's probably
You
two and a
know,
half hours, but it's probably two and a half
yeah.
hours. As when I was programming Top 40, the Powers ran, which were the top 10 songs every 2.5 hours. They had to because it was Top 40. But you're in Boston. Do you listen to Kiss 108? You probably don't listen to Kiss 108.
No, not anymore. I think back in the '80s, I did.
Maddie in the
But now
morning, man.
Maddie in the morning. I mean, those guys, they really, they
Are
were
you from
something.
Boston? Because I used to go to the Kiss 108 concert every year.
Yeah, no, I'm from New
Have you?
Hampshire. We're right over the
Okay.
border. We're about half hour, 45 minutes from Boston. But yeah, those kind of radio stations now, I'd say New Hampshire radio, Rock 101 is big, and country is big up here. And quite honestly, I listen. I'm a sports radio guy, so in the
Hmm.
in the studio in the
Oh, that's
studio we
another
have.
thing I tell.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, that's another thing I tell people. Sports radio. If you're into sports, do sports radio. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
because there isn't even any live right now. I'm the only live jock on my station. There's nobody in the building in that studio now till Monday morning. It's
You're
all
kidding.
automated. We don't have anyone else. Everything is. It used to be voice tracked. We don't even have anybody voice tracking now on my
No,
station. On the
no
country
kidding.
station, there's no one in the building. And
Wow.
most radio
You
stations you're listening to after morning drive, there's no one there.
That's
In most
that's crazy,
cases.
and a lot of people probably don't even know that. You know what I mean?
No, you don't. Like right now, I'm on. If you put on I-98, you're not going to want to hear that music for sure. But if you put on hit music, if you think what I played from the '80s, wait till you hear SZA and Lizzo and Cardi B, because those. So if you were to go to for a second, if you could stand it, go online to hit music i983.com, and
Okay,
I'm on there right now. I
no
recorded
kidding.
it like at 8 o'clock. I recorded it at 8 o'clock this morning.
We have three designers and producers here in their mid-20s. So now and then we'll put on the SZA and Lizzo and all of those for them. Kendrick Lamar. We all have different tastes in music, and we try to
Yeah,
try to do our best. To
but
keep it. No one wants to listen to yacht rock all day. You know what I mean?
yeah, but I know, but I will say this. We stand by that our generation has the greatest music ever recorded, and I do stand by that. But once I started doing middays on I-98, it doesn't suck. I mean, there's some good artists. Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter is really good. Tate McRae, these artists people my age don't know of, but I'm telling you, and I don't hear the whole song. When I voice track, it's called a log. The log comes up, and I go to the song, I do the talk break, and I go to the next song and I
Oh
hear the
wow,
fade of the song. And sometimes I go,
yeah,
"Oh, that's pretty good." I mean, I wouldn't trade it for Harry Nilsson, but
right, right. Well,
anything
when
Harry
I was
Nilsson '70s too is I love. I love Harry Nilsson.
Yeah, he was very versatile. Most people just know him from the Coconut song, but um,
Carpenters, love the Carpenters. It's
yeah,
weird
well,
because I
that's a
love some
tragedy.
Carpenters
I
and Led
was
Zeppelin. Yeah,
I was telling someone in the studio, because I did a little Carpenters deep dive the other day for some reason. She was 32 years old. What a tragedy! What a loss!
yeah,
At,
yeah.
at such a young age. But I've been an Earth, Wind and Fire fan, but also
Love Earth, Wind and
have
Fire.
been to probably a dozen Rush concerts. So
Oh
you gotta
wow,
have
yeah.
all your different tastes. And right now,
Well,
I'd
you know what's
say
funny? My wife is Gen X, so like, and she never asked for anything, but I got a text the other day. I wouldn't mind seeing Def Leppard. So I called my guy. I got tickets to Def Leppard.
oh, that's cool.
But she like we were in a restaurant last night, and there was I'm like, why are they playing alternative? What is this? And she knew what it was. I don't remember the song, but I had no idea what it was. So when we're in her car, we're listening to the '90s, which I know because I programmed in the '90s. Now, programming radio in the '90s top 40 was very challenging because it was either grunge or hip hop. That's all there was. So those disposable songs that came through were good to kind of balance the radio station, like Runaway Train or anything from Backstreet Boys or whatever. I considered that at that time. I considered it disposable. Looks like they're not going away. Um,
No. They are. They aren't going away. Speaking of going away,
Yep.
TikTok over the weekend.
Yeah.
Is it officially done, right?
Well, here's what, as I understand it, the Supreme Court upheld the decision to ban TikTok. Biden is giving it a 48-hour stay of execution just to leave it on Trump's desk on his first
Right.
day. Like the world doesn't have
Yeah.
any bigger concerns that he's got to worry about that on the first day.
Yeah.
So what's funny is my boss, who's a big conservative, I don't talk politics on here, but he's a big Trump guy, and he said Trump's going to save it. I'm like, he's not. He goes, if he saves it, you have to do the YMCA Trump dance on TikTok. And I said, okay, because it's not going to happen.
Well, I was listening this morning, and you had said that your daughter had told you about Red Note. Can you tell me a little bit about that as well? And it was funny how you mentioned it.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about Red Note. You heard that on the live or on the air?
On your show this morning.
Okay.
I don't know there was live.
I don't know. Oh yeah, that was live. That was the news. I don't know a lot about Red Note, but I know that hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Americans went to Red Note, which is another Chinese app. I guess I'm not going to download it. Very similar to TikTok. And now I'm not an expert, so this is just as I understand it. When you go there, the part of the accepting to be on the app is you have to agree to the socialist and communist views of China. Okay, so they don't even know they're agreeing to that because it's in Chinese.
Right.
My daughter told me that some kids are using their social security number as their username, and I mean that's just stupid. So I'm not going to go on there and double check it, but it might have been someone in school who told her that. Right. It made for good radio. But I don't know that. Don't quote me on it, but. Right. I would be surprised, and they're calling themselves TikTok refugees, and I think TikTok in China was, wanted to get, our kids to sign up for this communist app. This is just my opinion, to kind of squeeze us to leave TikTok on so they're not there. Why we don't want our kids on a communist app, do we? I don't know. I mean, everything's changed. Who knows? Maybe people do want it. I don't know.
So where are you gonna go live next? After the weekend, where can people find you?
I'm going to start beefing up my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, I never really paid much attention to. I have like 24 followers, and it's at Franco in the Morning on YouTube, and that is where I'll do my music history bits. My pieces, shorts and long form. You can't go live on YouTube until I think you have 1,000 followers. And I'll say one thing. And I see this with the major, like the creators that have millions of people. Like I follow a guy who does true crime, and he has like over 1 million followers. And he was saying, for some reason, you can't get TikTok followers to convert to your other platform. I mean, I've been asking him to, and I think have 24 followers on YouTube. But I'll do that. I'll do that on YouTube. And to do a live, right now I'm on Clapper, but somebody said don't be on Clapper. But that's where I am. And that's where I'll do my lives, but you can't play music on there yet. So you can play music on TikTok because they have a third-party deal with Spotify and the publishing gets paid.
Mm-hmm.
At least I hope it does. That's what I was told. Because I wouldn't want an artist not to get paid for what they wrote. But so I'll go on Clapper just to try and keep our community together and do trivia or something until I figure out if there's another app where I can play music, because music is what we do, and that's why they come to our community.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm gonna do.
So what are some memorable moments that you may have had in radio in your career? I know some people were like, I was on the air when John Lennon was shot. I mean, give me a memorable moment.
I was on the air when John Lennon was killed.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was doing a night show in Waterbury, and back then they had your younger listeners won't, but it's an AP wire, Associated Press. That's where we got all our news.
Oh yeah, and I worked at a television station in Springfield, Massachusetts when I went to college, and would grab it off the teletype all the time, all the stuff.
Right. So when there's an emergency or something huge, the bells go off.
Yep.
It dings. So the bells were dinging. I was on the air, and I ran back and I ripped it off the wire, and that was it. And I just had to figure out how I was going to announce it. I was like 18. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was on the air for that. I'm trying to think of good moments. I was on the air. I can tell you the three that come to mind the most when people say, and that was one. The second one was the space shuttle Challenger, and the third one was I was on the air when 9/11 happened.
Oh my God. Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. So those are three. Those are three bad moments. I'm sure there's some good ones in there too.
Meeting artists were good moments. What I really like is helping the community, and I've actually, I shouldn't say just in 2016, my wife and I opened a comedy company. We use a lot of Boston comics. I mean,
Yeah.
I know not huge. They're not huge names, but if you've ever been to some of the clubs, you might have seen Chris Tabb or Mike Hanley, Harrison Stibbons. Those are pretty big names in Boston. But anyway, I was doing stand up on a regular basis for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I met Kimberly, she told my wife, and when she was my girlfriend, she said, "You're not funny." And I was like, wow. It reminded me of that Seinfeld episode. You're a cashier. When the girl says, too much fluff. You're a cashier. But so I'm like, well, see, the thing is, because I've been on the radio so long, my cadence when I do stand up is too DJ sounding, I think. And that's what she meant. So I'm like, you know what? So I turned it around and I started a comedy company that raises money for nonprofit organizations. And we have raised close to $700,000 so far. The website is comedyforyourcause.com. And the shows are awesome. So that's a big thing that's happened, but that doesn't have to do with radio. But what I was starting to say was with radio, the big things. I love helping the community. We've done a lot of stuff for people with tragedies and stuff like that. So those are big moments for me. As little as they seem. I did a concert series at the Naval Base back in the '90s and early 2000s called Bash at the Base. The last one I did, you're going to love this lineup. The headliner was, at the time it was huge, 98 Degrees. They were the headliner. We had 14,000 people in attendance and I was running it. And that was like such a, and I learned how to do that through the years, from different concert promoters and stuff. And then, people say, oh, it's like to meet Elton John. You say hi for 2 seconds, and you're like, why is he even meeting me? He doesn't have to come out and meet radio. So doing the concerts, one of the things we did that was really memorable, and this is a good one, is Eddie Money was promoting a new record, his company, I think it was Columbia or CBS, Columbia. And he was going to make an appearance at a radio station event. So I asked the guy from the promotion department at Columbia, hey, will he perform? We're doing our birthday party that weekend, the radio station birthday party. And he's like, well, and back then there was called track acts. And that's when, the top 40 acts would come in and they used a DAT, a digital audio tape. So they were called track acts. And they sing to the track. People still do that. Just, watch Mariah Carey on Christmas, and they said, well, Eddie will sing, but he doesn't do a track. So he needs a band. And he's not touring with a band, so it's not going to happen. So my music director is a bass player. And I say, hey, Chuck, can you get your guys to learn like 5 Eddie Money songs and like have 5 days? And he's like, yeah. So he got the guys from the music store, and they put together a band, and it's freaking awesome. It's on my TikTok page. So that was a pretty cool thing. A meeting and becoming not good friends, but friends with Joan Jett and her people was pretty good for me. That's been a big thing, because I get friendships,
Yeah.
But meeting when you meet the big stars, it's a second. That I'm sure you've met people, and it's like why is Billy Joel meeting me or Rod Stewart or whatever. So those things are pretty cool. But I think the main thing for me is helping to raise money for people that are in need. Like there's a producer in California where I went with the Seesaws. I mean, if you follow, you know who the Seesaws are. Matt, the songwriter. I was in that studio at home 2 months ago. It's gone. So I'm talking to Matt about maybe doing some kind of Zoom comedy show where people can buy links and watch it. And, it's not going to put a dent in it, but just help. I'm not sure if we'll do that, but I like to do that type of stuff. So those are memorable moments for me.
Isn't there a thing being put together called Fire Aid that I heard about?
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning. There's 15 acts committed. Everything from some of your favorites. I'm sure Billie Eilish, but Jelly Roll. What's funny? I got my son tickets to Jelly Roll like last year, and I'm like, who is Jelly Roll? And then I listened to one song called Save Me. And if anyone who has a drug or alcohol problem ever listened to that, have you ever heard the song Save Me?
I
It's
have, yeah.
unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's chilling. So, I mean, so Jelly Roll's already committed. Green Day, Lady Gaga, they're looking for 50 acts at 2 venues in Inglewood, I think. And wheels already turning. I'm trying to get Seesaws on there as some sort of a filler act or opening act. I got to see who's running it and see if somebody I know who knows somebody that could make that happen. That would be pretty cool.
So you jumped ahead and you answered the question about comedy for a cause. But I'll ask you this: who's your favorite comic and why? Right now.
Okay. Right now.
Or of all
I love
times,
Bill
I don't
Burr.
care. Oh
I
yeah.
love Bill Burr. Well, yeah, it's really funny when you say all time. To me, Carlin's the goat, but I love Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald and my sister and I argued when he was on Saturday Night Live. I'm like, you don't get him. You either get him or you don't, and he's freaking brilliant, and he was so funny. And he was never compromised. I mean, if you told him to do something, he did the opposite. That's just the way it was. Like
Right.
with SNL, when they told him to stop telling OJ jokes, he told more. So I mean,
Right.
and I like I don't know their names. There's a guy who actually kind of sounds like Norm Macdonald right now. I can't remember his name. He's on the clips all the time. Something Norman.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I don't know his name.
His jokes are I love the way jokes are written and structured, because I'm really into comedy and I've written jokes. So none any good, so I won't tell them. But I love the way they're structured and they're delivered. Like Norm had a look like a 12-year-old kid who just like set, he's about to do something bad, and he had that devilish look, and I just love the way he delivered. I love Carlin. I really like Ricky Gervais. I like Nikki Glaser. I mean, people say, "Oh, how can you like?" I thought Nikki Glaser did a really good job at the Golden Globes. Now, I like what Ricky Gervais did at the Golden Globes, and Nikki Glaser played it where I'm going to kind of make them think I'm going to do something, but I'm not. And I hear delivery and her jokes were written really well, just from the clips I saw. Yeah, so those are comics that come to mind. Bill Burr,
Nate Bargatze, just hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful, man. I really can't thank you enough for taking time with us today, but I can't get you out of here without asking you the key question. The name of the podcast is Tell Me 3 Things. So for Franco, tell me 3 things that about yourself that your audience might not even know. And that may include your wife.
That's tough because my life is an open book. I mean, I went through divorces on the radio. I had children on the radio. So my radio listeners, your listeners would probably, not that they care, learn things about me, but my listeners, I mean, my life is an open book. It just is.
Okay. So tell us 3 things.
All right. I've been married 4 times.
Okay.
I'm a pizza snob.
Oh, okay.
I'll travel around and try different pizza. And my daughter Stephanie used to call me a pizza bully because I would say, we got to go here, we got to go there. She goes, I don't want to go there, I like Domino's. I'm like, oh my God, Domino's.
Yeah, Domino's.
And I know every word to Rapper's Delight 15-minute version. You don't want to see me do it.
Oh, please can you please, I'm begging you, give me the first 15 seconds.
Is this just audio or are people seeing me? Because when they see me...
Oh, people are going to see you. People are going to see you, but we could, but just for me. No one else will see it. Okay, go ahead.
So I was coming home late one dark afternoon. The reporter stopped me for an interview. She said she's heard stories and she's heard fables that I'm vicious on the mic and the turntables. This young reporter I did adore, so I rocked the vicious rhyme like I never did before. She said, hey, fly guy, I'm in love with you. That's 15 seconds.
That is awesome.
Funny is I do that. We do the cruise with the radio stations. So we take listeners on a cruise. We're going to Bermuda July 20th.
Nice.
And we have about 80 people signed up right now. We had 300 when we went to Alaska last year. And every year I say I'm not going to do it, and every year the band gets me to do it. And then I see the video, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to do that off stage. It's just sad. Like, who's this old white guy trying to rap? But it was funny because there was a trend on TikTok where it was this this really cool black dude is like, "Tell me you white without telling me you white." And I stitched it and did Rappers Delight, and everybody just went nuts on the comments.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Put
Is
it- put
there
video
is there
up.
anything you want to promote while we're letting you go?
Okay, so if anyone wants to hear, on TikTok, I'm at Franco in the morning. Okay, so follow me there, and then on YouTube, it's at Franco in the morning. On Clapper, I screwed it up. It's because I didn't know you had to do. I didn't know how to put my name in there. Anyway, it's Franco in the morning _59, and YouTube, it's at Franco in the morning. So if anybody wants to see that, but most importantly, because we're not afraid to come to Boston to do comedy shows. If you have an organization or a person in need, please visit our website, comedyforyourcause.com. You should come out for a show. You're right down the road. You're in Boston, right? Or did you say New Hampshire?
We're just north of Boston in New Hampshire, right? Right.
Yeah. All right. So my son lives out that way. He works for a marketing company. You come out for a show, and we'll try and put you up in Mohegan Sun or something like that.
Cool.
If you're
Well,
interested in
I will
that.
definitely stay in touch, and I can't
Yeah.
thank you enough for taking a few minutes
I
to
appreciate
chat
it,
with
man.
us.
That's great. And you know what? I might want to call you about the your clients and see if anybody wants to advertise when we're playing Bananarama.
I don't think anyone will. I appreciate you.
All right.
I really appreciate it. We'll be following you wherever you go, and have a great
I
weekend.
appreciate it,
Franco.
man. Thank you. Can't wait
Appreciate
to
it.
meet you. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks.